great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of disease.
Welcome back to the Immigration Answers Show. My name is Jim Hacking. This is episode 942 of the Immigration Answers Show. I'm an immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, Washington, D.C., and Chicago, Illinois. I'm a content creating fool. I made 2 new videos for today, one for today and one for Saturday. Can you guys hear me? Someone says they can't hear me. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Hello, Godzone on TikTok. Erica Tom 5561 says she can't hear me. I'm seeing some hearts. I'm seeing some yeses. I'm along not hearing. I don't know. Yes, I can hear you. Awesome. Hey, everybody. I want you to know that my good friend Queen Skyla is here. Lady Sky is here, taking care of everyone in the comments. Skyla, we haven't had you, I don't think, on the show for very long. So let's plan when I do a show, maybe after I get back from my trip, that we have you on as a guest and introduce you to everybody properly so they all know who you are when you call. Skyla's saying yes, so that'll be great. Okay. Like I said, I'll be here for the next hour and a half, trying to answer as many immigration law-related questions as possible. Kevin was asking, what did I do yesterday? Well, actually, I bought a new car yesterday. I am 55 years old, and for the first time in my life, I have my own car that I bought, and that's new. It's a 2026 Cadillac, so I'm very, very excited. I traded in my 2017 used Cadillac Escalade and got a new one yesterday. So I just drove Nora around the block in it. That's why I was a little late. Sorry about that, but it's pretty exciting, and it's a pretty fun car. I think it even drives itself on the highway, but we're just learning little by little what we can do with the car. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Jerry's asking, is this a live show? Yep, Jerry, this is a live show. I'll be here for 90 minutes. If you want to ask me a question, just click on the link and you'll get to go to the green room. Yeah, I told Imani, there's the Lincoln Lawyer. And it's funny because the first Escalade I ever drove was in San Diego, and San Diego's my happy place. And I've driven, Hertz has given me a couple upgrades to Escalades, and that's what sort of startup. Yeah, startup CarPlay is all set up. It has Wi-Fi on it, and in fact, in the passenger seat, you can actually watch YouTube. So you can't see it from the driver's seat, but when Imani and I were driving home, I said, let's turn me on. So she watched me for a minute in the Cadillac in the car. It was sort of a surreal. Carolyn's got a Caddy too. My dad had a Caddy for a long time. My dad had a Cadillac. I forget what they're called, but I think it was 4-door, but it was, he had a rag top. So it wasn't a convertible, but it was a cloth top. And he loved that thing. And he had a version of that car for at least 15 years. One time, it had OnStar in it long before most cars had OnStar. And one time he dropped it off at the Missouri Athletic Club, and what do you call the guys? The valets stole it, and they drove to Chicago and stripped it. So they drove his Cadillac to Chicago. They stripped it. I probably told you guys this story before. They took everything except for his John Denver tapes. They left his John Denver tapes. They didn't want those. But everything else, you guys probably don't even know who John Denver is. Anyway, I'm going to talk. Boy, I look sort of like, my eyes look cool. Did you guys see JD Vance made fun of himself? I actually thought it was really funny. You guys know that spinning JD Vance with the fatter face and the curly hair, he actually recreated it for Halloween. And as much as I hate him, I thought it was pretty funny. So if you haven't seen that yet, Wesleen is here. Hello, Wesleen. Is Laura here? Let's see. Yeah, in the green room, you can't hear me. I don't know why that is. It seems sort of silly. Let's talk to Julian. Hello, Julian.
Hi, Jim. Thank you for having me in. And congratulations on the new car.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I have a question. I'm a resident since 2018, and I know I can apply for citizenship. I just been lazy, to be honest. But I'm a very clumsy guy, and I lost everything. I mean, everything I lose. I lost my wallet a couple of times. I lose my license all the time.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
lost my green card.
Mm.
I already applied for a new one for replacement. I filed the I-90 form,
Great.
and of course, probably it's gonna take a very long time. But here's my problem. I'm going to Honduras for vacation with my family. That's where I'm from, and I applied for a stamp, added stamp. It came in the mail already, so I'm very
You're not
nervous.
you're not asking me if you can travel, are you?
Yeah, I'm asking if I can travel
Yeah. No,
with
we don't
that.
talk about that. We don't talk about this anymore. So we don't. Our position is. I'll put it up on the comments just so you know.
Hmm.
Here it is, and then I'll read it to you. Our advice for non-citizens: do not travel until you become a citizen. Thank you. That's all we say about that. So with
Uh,
an added stamp, with a lost green card, people say I'm crazy. I made a new video defending myself today. It dropped today, so go watch it. It probably doesn't apply to you, but it lays out my whole philosophy on traveling. And my position is, unless you're a citizen, don't travel. So if I'm you, I would focus on getting my N400 on file. You'll probably have your interview in 2 or 3 months, and then you'll become a citizen. So just do that and then travel.
got it. Okay, so I guess I will start putting my big boy pants in.
Yeah. Good job, Julian. Yeah, let us
All
know if you
right.
need any help. See you, buddy.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Goodbye, brother. All right, that was Julian. He's been putting off citizenship, but now he's going to go do it. Now he's going to go get his citizenship. Julian, call us back when you get your citizenship so we can put you on our list of 10,000 people we're trying to help with their citizenship. The 1,000th episode's coming on. We're about 50 away, and I've decided that I'm going to interview some famous immigrants. And I have big ass and little ass. Of course, my first interview, I think what I'm going to do is record these 25-minute interviews with immigrants, and then I'll fill part of the 10-hour. We're going to do a 10-hour show on the 1,000th episode. It'll be some live parts and some recorded parts. I'll probably do like 3 live shows for an hour each, and then we'll fill the rest, is what I'm thinking. So if you guys could help me out and put down any famous immigrants you can think of, that would be good for me to try to interview. I was thinking today about Arnold Schwarzenegger. I played one of his motivational clips for my team, for the intake team today, and everybody got fired up. He's got such a great immigration story, coming from Austria right after being born, right after World War II, and how he saw Muscle Man magazine and he knew he wanted to live in America, and so that's why he got into bodybuilding. And my favorite part of the whole yeah, I'll interview some of you guys. That's a great idea. I would love to tell so what I'm thinking is I interview people for 25 minutes, and then we turn those into a spin-off podcast of the Immigration Answer Show. Tony wants me to interview the belly dancer. If she's a naturalized citizen, I'll do it. So so I thought we could do a new podcast called Immigration Stories or Immigrant Stories. Get regular people who immigrated, famous people who immigrated. I think it'd be really helpful to change the narrative. My hair looks so cool. I look like Dr. Emmett Brown or something. Martina Navratilova. Oh, that'd be good. Mom Donnie. Yeah. Wow, that'd be fun. I think he's a little busy right now. But Arnold, my favorite part of the whole thing is he talks about how you can't listen to the naysayers, and he goes, "So I didn't listen to those losers. I didn't listen to them at all. I loved it. So, let me know some yeah, Einstein. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why it's so white. I guess it's just because of the sun. And I'm getting old. How about that? Happy man. Hello.
Hello, hi Jim. Can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yes, I
Hello, can you?
can.
Okay, thank you. Jim, I decided to follow your advice, so I'm not going to travel, even though I just received my green card today. But I'm not going to travel. So we
Yeah.
took the decision, my mom, my spouse and I. So I was thinking instead of me going for the uh, holidays, I'm trying to bring my mom over.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though. She was denied the visa before.
Yeah. So she's probably not going to get one.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So she was probably denied. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't travel. I'm just saying that 99 out of 100 people are going to travel no problem. Maybe 999 people are going to travel no problem. But what if you're the one? The video that I made today was about the Vietnamese guy that sat in jail for 8 days at the Chicago O'Hare Airport because CBP felt like messing with him. No other real reason. No, I
Okay.
mean, he had criminal stuff. You can listen to the video, and he had criminal stuff in his long ago past, but he'd also gotten cancellation of removal, which means that none of that stuff really should have been keeping him from getting back into the United States.
Oh, I
Yeah,
never had any trouble, with law enforcement, anything, nothing.
yeah,
The only thing, bad on my record is probably overstaying and walking
yeah,
without authorization.
yeah. I mean, do what you want, but if you're the kind of person, I mean, there's different people have different risk tolerances. So if you're the kind of person who gets nervous about leaving, then don't leave. If you want to roll the dice and go see your mom, I mean, I certainly understand, right?
But Jim, I'm trying to bring her so she can, be with us and, celebrate Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas.
Yeah,
The thing is, that it was 9 years ago when she actually applied for a visa to come visit us,
yeah.
and it was denied. It was just denied.
So what ties does she have to the home country? Does she have a job?
Oh,
Does she own property?
she's married. She got kids over there.
So try again. I mean, trying once every 9 years, that's not bad. I just get worried about these people that apply every 6 months, right?
Okay. So do you guys help with that process?
With what?
Visa?
No, you don't need us. Just fill out a DS-160, and then you got to have some proof she's going to come back. So prove that she, is married or has kids or whatever reason she's going to come back. You got to prove that up. But we don't mess around with non-immigrant visas.
Okay. Okay. So that's pretty much what I hope they'll give it to her. I really hope.
Good
All
luck.
right.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Congrats on getting your green card.
Thank you, man.
All right, all right. What's your opinion on cruises? I'm going on a cruise. I'm going on a cruise in a few weeks, but that's leaving the United States when it comes to not being an immigrant, right? AJ says depends on how you got your green card. Overstay, illegal work is forgiven. Yes, that's true, but CBP is choosing in some cases to relitigate issues that have already been resolved by criminal courts or immigration courts. That's the point. That's why I tell people to be cautious and to ask themselves, could I afford to not be allowed back into the United States for a week, 2 weeks, or 10 weeks? Right? Because nobody knows. RBK77, hello.
Hi, can you hear me? How are you?
Good.
Yes, I have a little bit complicated story. Gonna take a
Okay.
couple minutes. So
Go for
basically,
it.
in 2012, I came to the United States as a tourist. Within 180 days, I changed my status to F1. Basically, I went to college. I waited till my I-20 was approved and start going to college. Then in I think 2014 or yeah, I think in 2014 I found a job offer basically, and that company offered to do EB2 for me. So they filed I-130 and I-485 in 2014. In the May of 2014, once they filed, I stopped going to the college. Once I received the work permit, I started working for them. Then fast forward in May of 2016, the application was denied. The 485 was denied. I never got the letter. The company says also they didn't get the letter. And the denial letter, the only way I was able to find out, because my wife at the time, but by the way, I got married in 2013 and my wife never changed the status to F2 while she was married to me, but she never overstayed at that period. So she would go back to the country where we are from originally. Then in 2016, after denial, within like 87 days, I filed for asylum. And fast forward to 2023, I decided to file for EB2 NFW, which was approved. And right now, the the priority date became current. And basically, my question is, what options do I have? Because I have about a little bit less than 90 days of overstay in 2016 after my 485 was denied and before I filed for asylum. I never got any notice to appear or never broke any laws, nothing like that. It just the overstay.
Have you checked the portal to see if you are ever in removal?
Yes, the website. It says no records.
Have you done a Freedom of Information Act request on your immigration files?
I did it recently, like a few weeks ago. They're supposed to come in December, but I filed multiple times. They denied. Basically, I wasn't doing it correctly, and the very recent one they took under basically saying they're working on it.
Did you ever find out why the 485 was denied?
No, I have suspicious that the company that I was working for, they couldn't prove they can pay my salary, even though they were paying it. So basically what was happening, they had like multi-million-dollar of assets, but they basically claimed losses on their tax returns.
So did the I-140 also got denied?
I never got the letter. I got only 485 denied.
But you haven't seen the 45 denial?
Nope, only for my wife. And my wife's 485 was saying that she's denied because she's basically claimed as dependent, and I was denied. But it never said why I was denied.
Okay, so what's your question?
What should I do now? Because right now I have two options, right? I can file for adjustment of status, which would most likely be denied.
Well, it will be denied, yes.
And
you can't use asylum as a bridge because you were out of status on the day you filed for asylum.
Okay, because I've read some cases where people say they were able to adjust it while asylum was pending, and
yes,
they had
but
some
only
days.
But only if the asylum case was filed while they were still in status. Listen, I'm an expert on this. I study this all the time, so I know that it's crystal. I mean, even if you file it while you're in status, it's hard to get USCIS to do it. But if you're out of status or if your case has been referred to the immigration court, there's no way they're going to adjust you. I fight with them. Even when people did it the right way, they don't believe that they can do it.
And so 245K. Oh, sorry.
Okay. You can cite to me whatever you want. What I'm telling you is USCIS will not give you a green card if you weren't in status at the time that you filed the asylum application. You have another big problem. Why didn't you apply for asylum within 1 year of arrival?
Well, I was looking at asylum as a last resort. Initially, I came as a tourist.
That's not how it works. That's exactly why I asked the question, and that's exactly the wrong answer. So immigration isn't a menu that you go to at the restaurant and you pick out what you feel like having. You have to be targeted and surgical. And just because you viewed it as a thing of last resort, what it looks like is you threw it in there because you had nothing else left. You had tried to go from a B1 to an F1. You went from an F1, then you didn't really finish your F1. You just sort of hung out around long enough until they could get that I-140 on file. The I-140 was sort of squirrely. The asylum case is probably a little squirrely. And for all those reasons, I think you're in big trouble when it comes to immigration.
Even with the consulate process, if I would go to the out of country, but not in my country, in the country where I'm from, the embassy don't work. I'm from Russia.
Are you seriously considering that? Because I think there's a 60-70% chance they don't even let you back into the country if you try that.
But what other options do I have? Wait for the interview on the asylum?
That's all you got. And you're going to have to articulate much better than you did with me. What was the change in circumstances that made it that you had to apply for asylum when you did and you couldn't have applied earlier?
I was in status when I came to the country. That's why I didn't need to file for asylum at that time.
That's not an answer. That's not a legal answer. That might be a factual answer, but that's not a legal basis for not fine. That does not get you out of the 1-year rule. They can choose to let you file it late, but in my experience, when you've tried A, B, and C, and then you throw in an asylum case, what you need to be focusing on is there something in Russia that changed between the time that you entered and the time that you filed for asylum that made it imperative and harder that you had to apply for asylum right then.
What's up, bro?
This one's not cold enough. I'll take it.
Thank you is what I meant to hear.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't think anything in Russia changed for like it always was bad. Right now it's even worse, but under different circumstances because of different things. But still, it's like I don't know. Somebody told me, like a lawyer or somebody, they told me if you can try any other ways, don't use asylum. Use asylum as a last resort.
That's dumb thinking, and that's wrong, and that was bad advice.
Well, I wasn't at that time. That was the only legal advice that somebody gave me.
Okay. Well, I think that it's likely that they're going to try to kick you out of the country, so you might want to think about other options in someplace other than Russia, because I don't think they're going to let you stay.
Basically, you saying that I can try a consulate process or just find another country to live in?
Go ahead.
No, I'm asking.
What do I think a consular official is going to do with somebody who they think came to the United States with the intention of working, they said they were coming as a visitor, they didn't leave on time, then they applied for a change of status as student visa, then they sort of let that sit on the vine until they found an employer to file a bullshit I-140 for them, which got denied. Then after all that, then they throw a Hail Mary and throw an asylum case. Do I think that the consulate in whatever country you visit is going to voluntarily hand you a visa, a green card, an employment-based green card, employment-based immigrant visa so as to get a green card? Do I think they're going to give that to you? I think the chances of that are less than 1%.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I guess.
Right.
And you basically, what would be your advice? Not a legal advice, just like,
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I first started doing immigration law, I was very lucky to work with a really smart immigration lawyer. She had been practicing about 3 years. She's one of the smartest people I know. I miss her, and she was awesome. And in some times when we would do consults, she would say, brother or sister, this is one of those cases where you should probably take whatever money you were going to spend on hiring a lawyer to prosecute your asylum case and use that to resettle somewhere else. That's where we are.
Okay. Wow. Initially, when I filed in 2023 for EB2 NIW, the lawyer that helped me basically to like with a case with filing, they said that I'm qualifying for everything. I understand that was probably a bad advice, but they said normally I qualify under the current law to adjust the status or for a consulate process in the future if my EB2 NIW will be approved.
Was it?
They looked at the they opened the law.
Was
book.
it approved? Do you have an approved I-140?
Yes, right now, yes. It was approved in May of 2024.
Well, then probably your best bet is to shoot for a green card. But like I said, I think it's going to get denied.
Okay, and doesn't matter. I live in Florida, and some cases that I read online, they said that you get better treatment in states like California, Oregon, or Washington. Does it play a role? Forum shopping.
Well, first of all, you can't move just to shop a forum. So I would never use those words again. Those are words that bad lawyers use. So I would never utter those words again. If you have a legitimate reason for moving to a different state that happens to have better chances of success on a 485 on a case like this, specifically, you do need to think about that, because although I believe that any USCIS office can approve a green card for someone who uses asylum as a bridge, except for the fact that you were out of status at the time you filed. but there's a split in the circuits. What that means is parts of the country allow you to do that and parts of the country don't allow you to do that. Again, putting aside the issue of you being out of status when you applied for asylum. But I would spend some time looking at, where the jurisdictions, I mean, you sound like a pretty smart guy. Look at the jurisdictions that do allow for asylum to be that bridge of status. And you're going to, I mean, if you ask me, Jim, what's the one state I don't want to file my green card case in? You're living in it.
For 15 years almost.
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about how do we sit around and think about how to fuck specifically employment-based green card people, Florida, it's a whole different game.
Okay. Okay, I guess.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Yep. I got my Jets hoodie on now. Robert, old Robert, I think I might not be able to go all the way to LA to see the Chargers play that night, but maybe we could go to a sports bar in San Diego and watch the Chargers if that works, because I'm only going to be there a little bit on Saturday, which I'll probably hang out with Ismail. We can go to an earlier game or watch the Chargers game, go to the bar to watch an earlier game. But I'll text you about that. All right. Yeah. I'm barely going to be there on Saturday, and I like to be by the beach. So if we went to LA, that would be like the whole Sunday or a big chunk of it. And then I would get in late, and then I got the conference on Monday, so I'd be spent. So maybe we'll just do a San Diego meetup. That would be fun too. And then Mel Raz and Del Mar could come down and see us. Fan 726, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yo.
Excellent. So I have a question for you that I don't know if people have asked lately. So I'm a U.S. born citizen. My wife has DACA. We already have our I-130 approved. Advanced parole's done.
Nice.
We're about to have our 2-year anniversary next week, so we don't have to worry about a conditional green card after we file. So that's all good. We've been married for 5 years.
Wait, you haven't filed yet?
We haven't filed yet. No, we're about to.
What are you waiting for?
My wife has just been a little bit hesitant and a little bit nervous with everything going on with the Trump administration. And
wait, time out. You said you've been together 5 years?
Been together 5 years, married for almost 2.
So that means that there was a year of your marriage, year and 2 months of Biden.
That's true.
You had to do advanced parole. When did she get back from advanced parole?
Last February.
February of 25 or 24?
Of 25.
Dude, you guys should have filed the next day.
Yeah, that's what I was wanting to. Yeah, I agree.
Just as an aside for everybody listening, and certainly don't ever wait for the 2-year anniversary because you think it's going to avoid having to do the 751. That might be true, but it's not worth not getting an immigration benefit sooner just to have to not go through 751.
Right. Well, and I appreciate you saying that. One of the things is that that we were thinking about is that there's been continuous lawful presence with DACA. And so because of the timing of the DACA renewal, it kind of made sense. I don't know. We were advised to wait just to not risk having the conditional green card.
That was bad advice. Okay.
But my question to you is there any evidence, like depending upon which USCIS field office you're at? We're in Portland, Oregon. Are different field offices different as far as, let's say, whether they're scrutinizing green card applications for, let's say, the immediate relatives of the immigrant, to try to find people to deport? Is there anything going on like that? Or are they typically just scrutinizing the green card application for the applicant themselves? If that makes sense.
So I think what you're asking me is, Jim, if my spouse is going through the green card process and she has family who's here and lacks status, will her applying for a green card and or showing up for an interview lead to increased scrutiny of said family members? Is that what you're asking?
Exactly. Well said.
Okay, awesome. That's a great question that I should make a video about. Skyla, can you write that down for me? Thank you for the question. I would say this. When I was a baby immigration attorney and nervous about everything, I worried about that all the time, and I've been worried about it ever since, just like your wife, okay?
Mm-hmm.
As of today, November 5th, 2025, I've never heard one story of them doing that.
Okay, that's good to know. That's what I thought, but
Because a lot of times, like, people will naturalize. Like, I've had people naturalize, and they'll go, "Well, where's your spouse? Oh, she's at home. What's her status?" Or no, they don't even ask what her status is. They say, "When did she come to the United States?" Like, they dance around it. Now, that's not to say that, you know, with the quotas to deport as many people as possible, here's the thing. Your wife has DACA, right?
yeah,
And I would assume that said people were listed on the DACA applications, right?
I believe so, if I remember
so,
correctly. Yeah,
dude,
but the addresses are different. So,
my brother, she's
Mhm.
scared. She's nervous. You need to pick this up and get it on file for her.
Okay. Do you could I ask a follow-up just about the USCIS field offices as far as if there's a difference between your experience with, let's say, the Portland, Oregon one versus others in terms of how immigrant friendly they are versus not?
I would say Portland is. I do believe that immigration offices take on the personality of the area in which they live. Like in what's that place? Roanoke, Virginia, they're like total hard asses because everybody's in the military, right? And then in DC, they're all very officious because they're all sort of like government people. When I've been to I had a case with a guy with a old criminal record, and we sailed right through on Nats in Portland. I've been to the immigration court in Portland. I'd be happy to take any case in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
So
I really,
with all the earnestness I can command, please show this to your wife and ask her that Jim is begging for her to file this thing and you guys did everything right. She's got DACA. She's got advanced parole. She's got a valid entry. I bet you she'll have her green card in 4 months.
okay. Yeah. I was really curious about that. I mean, because we already have the I-130 approved. So I was curious if, one, if you think if the evidence is solid, if there's, a lot of information in the packet, if you think that potentially even the interview would be waived. I mean,
Did she have an interview on the I-130?
No, the I-130 got approved without an interview.
So I can guarantee you that she will have an interview and that the I-130 will be relitigated at that interview.
Okay, interesting.
Which is okay. It'll just be light, but they'll you got to be there and they'll want to make sure you're still married and everything's cool and you want to bring updated marital evidence. But I would treat that I-130, I would treat the I-45 interview as if the I-130 hadn't been approved.
Okay, that's really good to know. And you'd say probably about 4 months is the ballpark of what you'd say.
I mean, things are going really fast. I would say don't apply for advanced parole. Don't spend that money. Do pay for the work card, even though she has a work card through DACA. I would pay that $260 for that EAD as well.
Yeah, that's what
she probably won't ever get it. She'll probably just get her green card.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you letting me know. Even just hearing 4 months, just kind of the ball. I know it varies depending upon which field office you're at and the merits. But yeah, thanks for answering the question. Appreciate it.
You got it. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, I meant to tell you guys before the show started on TikTok, somebody asked me, "Hey, Jim, is it true that if you have an asylum case pending, they won't detain you?" That is 100% not true. They can detain you with a pending asylum case. And as evidenced by my 10 Indonesian clients who all had pending asylum cases, they were in this house and got raided, and they all got put into removal and detention because ICE wanted them to adjudicate their asylum cases in court. So they all ended up in detention, and that's why they all took voluntary departure. I see this discussion about hard offices. I agree. You can still get a bad hard officer in a good field office, and vice versa. You can get a nice officer even in a bad office. That's all true. I probably need to go inside. I think the sun's going to set. Let's go to Fox. Hello, Fox.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
I'm good.
Hi. Thank you for helping people from all over our planet.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. I have a question. My I-751 was denied, and in 7 days they issued a notice to appear.
Wow.
for me. Yeah, it happened because I had a citizenship interview based on a 5-year rule. I was married, but my 751 was pending for 40 months at that time. And
440?
for zero, right? For zero. And when I went to the citizenship interview, I expected that my 751 would be approved on a spot, like it happened to many other people. So I came there, and the officer was very angry. He was very angry and very emotional. So because my husband didn't come for the interview, so I was married for 6 years and a half, and USCIS sent me a letter requesting my husband's presence only 7 days before the interview, and I didn't get it. I just didn't get it on time. They didn't send me an email saying that such a letter had been sent. It didn't reflect on my case status online. So I had no idea that there was a second letter besides the N400 letter inviting my husband to attend the interview.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did your husband sign the 751 with you?
Yes.
So there's no rule that they have to tell you that your husband has to be there. That's sort of common knowledge. So that's not on them. That's on you.
But invitation for N400 didn't mention.
Again, that's you're not knowing the law, not their obligation. I agree it's not fair, but okay, I'll listen. Okay. So the officer was mad because your husband wasn't there?
Yeah, because he wasn't there. And
I mean, just for everybody listening, I say this often, that we're still in this weird world where 751s that used to get approved in 2 months, 3 months, now take 2 years, 3 years. We're still in this weird world where a lot of people are going ahead, rightly so, and applying for citizenship. And so the notices that you receive when you have a pending 751 and a pending N400 are inconsistent. Sometimes you get the 751 interview notice, sometimes you get the N400 notice, sometimes you get both. Here's another question. Did the N400, did you apply under the 3-year rule or the 5-year rule?
Under the 5-year rule.
Okay. So I can see why you were a little confused. Okay, I gotcha. So the officer's mad, and what happens?
It's not that simple. I was in a bad relationships with my husband at that time. We've been married for 6 years and a half. And at the time of the interview, he had a bench warrant. And he was actually hiding on a boat on a river for a month, fearing his arrest. So he switched off his phone and didn't communicate it with me at that time. And he would not have gone with me to the interview anyway, because he was on a river.
Can I say something about that too?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you watch, but if you follow USCIS's Facebook and Instagram account, they love posting now when they catch someone like your husband coming in to sponsor you, and they say, oh, we stopped Fox's husband. He's a U.S. citizen, but he's got a bench warrant, so we were happy to arrest his ass at immigration. Like, they love that, right?
Yeah, and I didn't tell that to the officer. I was afraid. It was a silly decision. I should have talked to him and tell him the truth, but I was worried about, I don't know what. It was just a mistake.
So you thought the 751 was already approved, or that it would be approved at the interview without your husband having to be there?
I thought that it would be approved on a spot. Like,
why did you think that?
Because it was a 5-year rule, N400, and they didn't tell me anything. They didn't tell me to bring a husband, and I communicated with other women on Facebook pages, on Facebook groups, and they were all approved on a spot.
That has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Other people's cases have nothing to do with your case.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened?
So what happened? The officer asked me to answer questions for 8 pages, and I signed every page. He said
Wait. So the officer took a sworn statement, like where he asks a question and writes down your answer. He writes a question and writes down the answer.
Yes.
Was it videotaped?
I don't know about video. It was he was typing on computer.
What was the general tone of the questions over the 8 pages? Was it all about the marriage?
It was about where is my PO box, where do we live, how we met, how long does it take me to go from my house to my PO box. Questions like this.
So I have some questions. On the day that you married this man, on the day you got married, were you in status or out of status?
I was in status. I've never was out of status. I've never had any arrests or even parking or even traffic tickets, nothing.
And what was his bench warrant for?
His bench warrant was from the Florida Wildlife Conservation Police. It was something happened on a river.
Okay.
I don't understand because he didn't tell me. I don't understand what happened, but he eventually went into jail for 2 months, and he was there for 2 months. And I decided to divorce because there were a lot of other things happening. And so I decided to divorce, and I filed. He didn't want to divorce. He never wanted to go and file for divorce together. So I filed for divorce myself when he was in jail. It was 2 weeks after the interview. And so the divorce will take place in November soon. So my question, and I received in 3 months after the interview, I received denials for both petitions. And the letter said that my conditional residence status was terminated 5 days after the interview. So they were sitting on my petitions without letting me know that they terminated my conditional residence status. So
how long after the interview did you get the decisions?
In 3 months after the interview.
Okay, I mean, there's no rule. They have to tell you right away.
Yeah. So my question is, should I file a motion to reopen or reconsider? Because they sent me, they informed me about the husband presence only 7 days before the interviews. They sent me a letter. It is stamped 7 days.
Again, they had no rule they did not have to tell you to bring your husband. There's no rule. That doesn't get you anything in my book.
So, but will it help? I'm in deportation actually. So if I file the motion to reopen, will it help me with my deportation in court?
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Well, first of all, did you and your husband have an interview on the 2-year green card?
Yes, we went there together, and we had a lawyer present.
Was it a Stokes interview or no?
It wasn't a Stokes interview, but there were a lot of photos and witnesses and bank statements.
That was my next question. So in the 751, did you file that with a lawyer or on your own?
I filed it on my own.
And if let's say that on the day you went to your interview, they ran a background check on your husband, which sometimes they do.
Yeah.
So they might have very well known that there was a bench warrant. They might have been sitting there waiting to arrest him when you showed up at the interview. Did you know he had a bench warrant that day?
Yes, I knew.
Okay. And if they did do a background check on him the day of the interview or the day before the interview, would he have had other criminal stuff besides the bench warrant?
Yes, he was on probation a year before.
For?
Yeah. For theft. He was, yeah.
Go ahead. What else does he have on his record?
He was arrested, but he wasn't charged with drugs 6 months ago, in December 2024.
During your marriage?
We were married. Yes, at that time we were married. But he wasn't.
So they probably know he's a criminal.
Yeah.
And in their mind, it's not a big jump from being involved in drugs and theft. It's not a big jump from that to getting paid by Fox to help her get a green card.
But he was absolutely clean before he started taking drugs a year ago. He never been in jail or never been arrested before.
Is that why you started having problems?
Yes, he started drinking, taking drugs, and completely lost his mind. In just 2 months, he was a
I'm
different
very
person.
sorry. I'm sure that was really hard to deal with. I'm very sorry.
Probably drugs triggered some mental illness in him.
Or vice versa. Or he was having mental illness and he needed drugs to feel
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. So I have a question. So I can't open the case because I am divorcing, and kind of the mutual 751 is not valid anymore, right? So it's
Well, let's think about a few things. Yeah, that's right. The mutual 751 is not okay. So just to be clear, you have a valid entry, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what should have happened, and here's what needs to happen now. So as soon as your husband started having criminal problems and you got wind of them, you should have filed your own 751 without him and said this was a good faith marriage. Everything was great until he got on drugs. And like, I would have interviewed the shit out of you to find out every detail that you know about him shifting from being a regular husband, good guy, to drug using bad guy, right? Not that everybody who uses drugs are bad, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is, because you didn't tell them and because you just wanted to see what happened when you got there, like your other lady friends, because you put yourself in the same boat as him. What you needed to do was to put yourself in a different boat from him. So in their mind, there's this lady who shows up at her 751 without her criminal husband and thinks she's going to get one over on us, and we're going to give her citizenship. That's what this lady sitting across from me thinks. That pisses them off. That's why the officer was mad. So what you need to do, even now, you can still do it. It's not a motion to reopen. Don't waste your time with that. What you need to do, how far out is your court date? Don't tell me the exact date, but how far out is it?
It's in 1 year.
Perfect. So what needs to happen is you need to hire us or somebody else to rebuild your marriage case, to file a new 751 on your own, get it on file, so that and then we can notify the court that you have that on file. Then the judge is either going to say, you can get your conditions removed here in court, or you can go to USCIS and do it. So the most important thing right now is to file a whole new 751 in the hopes of trying to keep you from being deported. I think you can stay here, but you have got to separate yourself from this person, as evidenced by the fact that you either did or will soon file for divorce. That's good. But we need to, I hate to say it, we need to go after him, make him the bad guy, make you the victim, which I think you actually are. You had a good marriage and it just fell apart because he was making bad choices, and then do all that while trying to keep you from getting actually deported from the United States.
Yes. And I have one, just the last question is, can I refile I-751 as a divorce abuse waiver and also WAWA at the same time?
So here's what I think. I think it's a much lower standard to prove that this was a real marriage that just fell apart, and then throw in all the bad stuff as to why it fell apart, than to make a VAWA claim, because I think it's harder to get them to agree, especially in Trumplandia, that VAWA is even a thing. Like, they would love to just ignore all VAWA, right? They think men should be able to beat their wives, and they don't want any real VAWA cases being prosecuted. So I think you're giving yourself too high a burden. To me, it's just real marriage for 4 years. Marriage fell apart because of what happened, and it was a real marriage that just didn't work out. So I think that's what I would do if I were you.
The marriage was 6.5 years.
That's great.
Yeah, the thing is that I have a very old relatives abroad, and I may need to travel and see them anytime, like anything.
You will not come back.
Yeah, I know I won't come back because I'm in deportation. That's why I wanted to file double petitions, like 751 divorce abuse waiver and also WAWA at the same time.
No,
because
if you want to throw other things in there, throw it all in one. You don't file two. But none of this is going to happen fast. You're not leaving anytime soon. You'll be lucky to get much action on the 751. At the most, you're going to show up at that court date a year from now and say, Judge, my 751 is pending. I'm waiting for USCIS to adjudicate it. Can you postpone these deportation proceedings until we hear from USCIS as to what they want to do?
do I have a chance to terminate the deportation proceedings?
Hell no, not anytime soon. Not without a 751 approval. That's your best bet, to get a 751 approved from the agency that is pissed off at you.
Yeah, I know, but 751 can take another 4 years for me.
It's going to take 4, but it's going to take 2.
Yeah, but what if something happens with my parents abroad and I leave the country and I just, lose the petition, the 751? And if I leave the country with VAWA, I can switch VAWA to consular processing abroad.
There's no way in hell that any embassy is going to give someone a VAWA green card. There's no way in hell. That's imaginary. That's la la land. You're not thinking about who's in charge. The State Department would love to have you sitting across from them at an embassy so they can tell you, no way in hell are we letting you come on VAWA. You had a husband who's a criminal and you lied to us at USCIS. There's no way in hell you're coming back. We don't care how much abuse you suffered. You're out of your mind. You're in la la land. Do you know who's in charge?
I know, but it's another 3 years only.
Okay, good luck. Stubborn. Everyone want to see the backyard? The tree's really pretty. And then I'm going to go inside. There's the backyard. The leaves are coming down. There's the new car. I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't want the computer to fall. It's behind that bush. Aren't the trees pretty? The pool is closed, so we don't have our usual pool sounds. All right. I'm going to come in here and turn the light on. One of Nora's friends is here. Oh, that Nora. She's something else. Let me turn on some more lights. How's everybody doing? This is the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. I'm an immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States at our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, Washington, D.C., and Chicago, Illinois. We will be in Chicago, Illinois on Friday. There we go. Friday to see Yusuf, our son in law school. It's parents' weekend or whatever. So I'm going to go up just for the day on Friday and then come back for Nora's last softball of the summer. All right. She's got those lady friends on Facebook who told her it was all going to work out. I mean, are you effing kidding me? Are you effing kidding me? People are so casual with their lives, and to think, oh, well, they were supposed to tell me to bring my husband to my 751 interview. Are you kidding me? I just had that feeling that I had when I got mad at Shabazz. I go, that's all, folks, when I really got mad. I was getting there. Alex, hello.
Hey, Jim, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah, good. God, I just got connected all of a sudden. But hey, I'm glad. Good to talk to you. So I actually wanted to ask you, I'm a pending asylum seeker in the US. And great. I just recently, 2 weeks ago, I just got married to my wife. I mean, I'm still getting used to the word saying wife. I mean, she was my girlfriend. We dated for 2 years. Nice. And so thank you so much. So I entered the United States on a F1 visa in 2018, and I filed for asylum in 2022.
So you went to school for 4 years?
No, not her, me.
I'm saying, but were you still in status when you filed for asylum?
No, I wasn't. It was during the COVID.
So how long did you actually go to school? That's what I'm trying to find out.
A year and a half, almost 2 years.
Okay. Then you applied for asylum, and then the person you married, are they a U.S. citizen?
Yes, she is a U.S. citizen. She was born in Colorado.
Great. So what's the question?
So, yeah, I mean, being out of status. So 2 weeks ago, 25th October is when I got married. At the mosque, we had our nikah, the ceremony. And I had my marriage license and everything. We got the marriage certificate. So all that's done. Now the next step was filing the I-761, the affidavit and the petition for green card and everything. I just started doing all the research, talking to people, the consultations and all that. Yeah. But at the same time, I've been watching your videos too. And I'm like, if I could get a chance to talk to Jim or, maybe talk to somebody in his firm. Sure. But the problem was also that my God, I'm kind of nervous. We just got connected to you, but yeah. So the problem was, yeah, being out of status. Because I wanted, so I never thought of as applying for an asylum back home in India. Because it's just so things that was happening in India. I left India for a very specific reason, to get away from all that. And then when I came to America, I realized that, hey, like I do not like my parents. The reason they got me out of India was to, when the things calm down, then I can come back. I never thought that, asylum would be my last resort in America, that I cannot ever go back to India. But it came to a point where I had to file for an asylum. And now, like, it's kind of complicated, because now, like, I do want to go to India too. Like, I never wanted to, but it's just, the things, but that was going on at the time. I had to file for an asylum. But now that I'm getting married, and I would hopefully, go through all the process, like, what at the interview for the petition for my green card interview, if that comes in the way, well, how much do you think they are gonna grill me about everything? And do I have to keep making it seem to them that, hey, I mean, I'll tell them honestly what the problem was and all that. I don't want to lie to them. But does this have a negative impact, saying, hey, like, I don't hate India, I don't hate him, but I do want to be able to, someday go there? Or just be like, nah, just tell them about the problems you faced, and that's it. Do not,
Okay, you ready?
yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I got a little worried when you started announcing the different forms that you think you need to file. I want to make sure that you understand that your spouse files an I-130 petition, you file an I-130A, you file a 485, you file a 765, she files an I-864, and you do a medical I-693. Okay, so those are all the forms that need to get filed now that you're married to a U.S. citizen. That's number one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, just to be clear, so you believe that your SEVIS record was terminated about a year and a half after you started on your F1, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
How long after that did you apply for asylum?
Year and a half, then 2 years exact, almost. Like the day they received my application, that received the asylum application, and you get the letter when you apply for the asylum, and after 2 months. So that letter has a date of exact 2 years. So I applied
from the day you entered, or from the date your SEVIS record got terminated?
From the date the SEVIS record was terminated, and
Okay.
the asylum was accepted by the USCIS, and the letter that they sent you, they received your pending.
So even if they said, well, you're supposed to apply for asylum within 1 year, you didn't do that, but you did, but they could say, well, you filed within 1 year of being invalid F1 status, but we don't have that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can you tell me in a broad way, you don't have to tell me all the details, but a broad way, why did you fear going back to India?
Oh God, on a live stream, I mean, yeah, let's see. So it's basically, it's just, it's kind of a religious thing, which is why I didn't want to say it on a live stream.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just because, yeah.
Are there people of your religion living in India safely?
Not just exactly. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay. So did a lawyer file your asylum claim, or did you file it on your own?
I had a lawyer, but yeah, it was kind of the fake lawyer terms that you use. I wasn't aware.
Okay.
But that's where everybody was going, so I went to the same person.
That person is probably in jail. I think this is a huge problem for you. I think that this will be the centerpiece of your green card interview. I think they're not only going to grill you about it, they're going to grill your wife about it. And the fact that you said to me that you're even thinking about going to India makes me very, very worried. Because the purpose of asylum is to never go back to your home country. And when you file for asylum, you sign a piece of paper and you sign it under oath that says, if I go back home, what did you say in your asylum case would happen to you if you went back home?
Yeah, I could. I mean, I'll barely make it home from the airport. That's it.
What would happen?
I mean, it depends, who finds out about it that I'm back home in my city or anywhere.
Why do you have to go to your city?
I mean, I don't want to go right now. I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about future, because
in your asylum case, you said that there's no place safe in India for you to go. That's what you said with your fake lawyer under oath. So I think that they're going to try to make you out as someone who filed a BS asylum claim just to stay in the United States and get work authorization. So I mean, one big question is, why didn't you apply for asylum on the day you arrived in the United States? Why'd you wait 3.5 years?
So the initial plan was to, just get out of India, and by the things would be better eventually. And then because coming to America was my dream. I mean, studying in America, having
lots of people have the dream of coming to America. That doesn't translate into an asylum case.
Yeah. But the reason I left, so asylum wasn't a plan before leaving the India. Asylum wasn't the part of the plan.
But I thought you said wait, hold on. I thought you said your parents were trying to get you out of there because it wasn't safe.
Yeah, but we didn't know about the asylum thing. I mean, never coming back to India. That wasn't what was discussed. It's like, okay, you need to get out of here. Just get away for a little time. Things would calm down, and you would be pursuing your dreams in America. And then, enough time has passed, and it'll be better. Then, yeah, you'd be a better person too, and things would be better here as well. But it got worse and worse over time, which is why it got to a point where I had to look into what do I do? And then I found out about an asylum, because I didn't even know what an asylum was back home in India. I came here when I was 18.
Okay. So I've been spending some time, more than I like, in immigration court. And there is a script that the immigration judges read to people who have pending asylum cases. In fact, for my 10 Indonesian clients, he put them all in one room and read them the script together. And what the script says is based on U.S. asylum law. And what it says is this: if you file a frivolous asylum case, that can keep you from get you deported, and it can keep you from getting any immigration benefit for the rest of your life, including a green card based on marriage. So to me, you sound like a nice person. It sounds like it's probably a real relationship. It wasn't just to get an immigration benefit. But you're going to have to be able to prove that you did not file a bullshit asylum case, because they're going to think that that there's millions of Muslims living in India, and they're doing so safely. So if you answer questions like you did with me, they're going to nail you, and they're not going to give you a green card based on marriage.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm really nervous right now. So yeah, but. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, of course they're gonna grill me. I mean, that's their job, to grill you about, whatever, everything.
No, their job is to find, right now their job is to find people to deport, and they're gonna be licking their chops when they see what evidence did you file in support of your asylum case?
I never even got a date, never, no hearings.
That's my question. What did you file in support of your asylum case?
I like an evidence of what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I never got around. Like,
basically what you're telling me is you filed a 589 with your statements as to why you feared going back home, and no evidence in support of that application.
I don't even know what exactly the asylum application was. It was through the fake lawyer. The questions he asked me about the history back home in India, I explained him everything in detail. And okay, yeah, we'll take care of your case. You got to pay us this much amount of money, and yeah, we want to make payments. Cool. And I gave them the information, and that's it. That's how my asylum was filed.
How much did this person charge you?
Oh God. So 2,000 down payment deposit, and then make payments for the remaining 6,000, so 8,000 in total.
Dude, that's what a real lawyer costs.
And they don't even pick up they don't even answer when you call,
because they're probably in jail, or they're hiding because.
And they messed up my work permit situation too. It's another story, but I had to file for a renewal because I got a 2-year work permit through my asylum, and before 6 months of that work permit being expired, you have to file for renewal. So I contacted them. I sent them the fees for the work permit. It was 500 and something dollars, $20. And they took all my information. They never filed it. And I'm waiting. Okay, yeah, because it's an automatic renewal. The work permit's going to expire, but it gets renewed automatically, and just wait for the card. But for that to happen, you get a letter for the renewal that, hey, we received your renewal application. I never had that letter. So long story short, my work permit got expired and I had to file the renewal again, lost the money that I paid the work renewal fees twice. And then I get a letter. So I'm like, what happened what happened to the time that, my firm, the lawyer was supposed to file for it, and they're not even picking up my phone calls or nothing. And the specific person who worked there, who I spoke to, yeah.
So that's why you don't use fake lawyers. But now you have me worried about even more stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have a copy of your asylum application?
Yeah, I got that.
You have it?
Exact application, the whole application? No. Yeah, you're right. I don't.
Okay. Now here's the $1 million question. Did you read the asylum application that the fake lawyer prepared?
I mean, no, they took my information.
So they could have made up all kinds of shit and put it in there, and your name is on it.
I mean, it was a firm, it was a office, and not just someone sketchy off the street. So, but I mean, yeah, that
wasn't a lawyer.
The person I spoke to was a paralegal. Yeah.
Lawyer. Yeah. So
they had all sort of certification on the walls and pictures of people, happy people with a happy life in America.
Okay. So, and you haven't had your asylum interview, right?
No, never once.
Okay. So you need to today fill out a form online. It's called the G639.
For the information, I was listening to your show yesterday, and
you need your whole file, and you need to hope to God that they didn't embellish or lie in your asylum case. I think they probably did, and I think they charged you $8,000 for basically nothing, except getting you the work card, which is how they prey on people. I'm very sorry, Alex, but I think you're in big trouble.
What do you say I should do? Like, I mean, I was happy about getting married and, hoping that, all this would go away through my wife. And luckily, with God's grace, like, she's pregnant too. It's like I'm starting a family, and now you're having my own family. And it's like I have a family back in India too. And I was like, hey, I want everybody to see my family, and someday take her back to India as well, like 10 years from now, like when everything is good and stable. Like even now I cannot go back to India with things going on, but yeah, like in future at some point, like I've never just crossed off India from my list.
Is that company still around?
The lawyer?
The fake lawyer?
Yeah. I mean, they had an office. They had a big office. But it was in California. I haven't been there for 3 years.
So you're in a different state?
Yeah, I'm in a different state. I'm in Washington.
Where in California is it? What city?
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara. Okay. But like, if you look on Google, are they still there?
Good question. Let's see. Yes.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say the name.
Okay.
I don't want to get sued. Is your wife listening to this?
She's in the next room. She just woke up.
Does she know about all this?
I mean, partly, but I mean, I didn't know I was in this big trouble until I spoke to you. So yeah,
okay, I'll make a deal with you. If you will have her watch this video, and if you want our help, and email me and say, Jim, I need your help with all this. If she's on board with all this, because this ain't a regular old green card case. This is a deportation case that we're trying to prevent. So to me, it's all going to turn on whether or not the things that are in the asylum application are true, or the things in the asylum application BS. If they're BS, then we're in big trouble. Okay.
Uh-huh.
No. All right. So send that over to me, info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Like to get a session, or if we can talk at some time where I can share you everything A to Z,
right.
and then just your opinion. Awesome, Jim. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Bye.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. All right. I've been hearing a lot of stories about bad lawyers lately, but now we have even worse notarios who charge $8,000. I literally think that's how much we charge for an asylum case in 2025. His was 3 years ago. $8,000 for bullshit. You know that they just recycled old 589s. Are you leaving? Oh, I'll see you over there. You look cute. Say hi to everybody.
I don't have time.
Say hi.
I have to go.
Oh my God. She's going to her ACT tutoring. She says hello. All right. Upstairs immigration law. Nothing wrong with upstairs immigration law. I liked when we were on the street. We're still on the street now, I guess. What is our address? 10121 Manchester Road, Suite A, St. Louis, Missouri, 63122. That was something. That was a hell of a case. That was like a law school exam case, although it's all bad. I hope Alex understands how serious it is. Yeah, Nor can't be late. She's got her tutoring. And then we're going to see The Notebook at the Fox. The recap. Hello.
Hi, Jim. I'm going to make this short and as quick as possible. It's one of those situations where you can look at your application materials 100 times and not see a mistake until right after you post it. On my wife's adjustment of status packet, the I-130, I realized that questions 5A through C, where you're supposed to put any previous names, I had a religious name change. And for some reason there, maybe sleep deprivation, I put my current legal name twice, like another time. So now I need to update that. How bad of a mistake is that? And what's the best way to update that before? I don't want to give them any reason to, deny anything.
So I wouldn't worry about this at all.
Okay.
If you want to feel better, you could do it. You could upload so I want you to go to my YouTube channel and type in errata sheet, ERRATA sheet. It tells you how to do it. But basically, you're going to type out 5A through C, those questions. You're going to type out the question itself and the correct answers with your actual other names.
Okay.
And you're going to have that on a piece of paper. You can upload it to the portal as additional or other evidence, and then you can bring it to the interview. And the interview starts when they say, show me your driver's license and your U.S. passport. You hand them this and say, sorry, I made a mistake. It's not a big deal at all.
Thank you so very much.
You got it.
And one last question. I'm going to be, of course, I sent the application last week. A housing opportunity came up, dream apartment, great location. We want to move in a week. What do we, updating our address for everything?
So I would wait until it's receipted.
Yes.
And then once it's receipted, she's going to file an AR-11.
AR-11.
I would probably file that once a month until the interview, and then make sure at the interview that you tell them the right address.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right. Take care. Be blessed.
Okay. Bye-bye. Cat fans, 685 Cats fan. Why do people not understand that the people voted for Trump because they wanted tougher immigration policies? We all understand it, but we're fighting back. And we would say, fuck those people. That's why. Because they were trying to be as mean. And listen, the shit I'm seeing right now, the stuff that the DHS and ICE is going to do with the money that they're getting, they're building a database on all of us. So on November 3rd, USCIS put out a new proposed rule that when it comes to biometrics, they want to get facial scans, iris scans, fingerprints, palm prints, and DNA, right? That they're going to require that. And if a U.S. citizen files for their spouse, then not only does the foreign national have to provide all that new biometrics evidence, but everybody, the citizen does as well. So they're going to start building a database on all of us. So these Republicans who we've heard forever worried about jackbooted thugs in these federal agencies. They are becoming what they warned us about, and that is Big Brother. They want your DNA in a database, and if you come on an F1 student, they can keep checking that every single day, and they're going to use AI with the stuff that that's going to be retrieved and captured. This is not going to stop with immigrants. Immigrants are just the first ones to fall. After that, they're going to go after political opponents. Like, I don't think it's a stretch at all to say that these evil bastards who are running the Department of Homeland Security have any intention of giving their power back. Right? So I think it is not fear-mongering or trying to scare people to say that we all need to wake the fuck up and see what they're doing. You guys need to comment. I made a new video about this for Saturday. We all need to lodge comments in opposition to this. These Republican mega donors with these AI capabilities like Palantir, they are building out systems to keep all of us in line. Yes, we live in a democracy and we follow them. No, majority rule. So, cat fans, you're wrong. So the purpose of the U.S. Constitution is actually to protect the rights of the minority. The majority is run amok right now. And in 2026, the Democrats are going to take back the House. But we have a lawless Department of Homeland Security. They're not following the law at all. ICE is breaking the law every single day. They have shot 3 U.S. citizens. They have arrested and held 170 U.S. citizens. They do not have the legal authority to be doing 90% of the shit that they're doing. So my job is to advise everybody what's happening, to let you know what they're doing with your tax dollars, with the billions of dollars that ICE has been given, literal billions of dollars. These Republicans are cheering on the cruelty. They love to see brown people in blue states getting wrapped up, and they just say, oh, majority rules, majority rules. No, the Constitution is designed to protect the rights of the minorities. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments have nothing to do with the majority. They're all about protecting the minority. And our founding fathers passed the Bill of Rights to protect all of our rights, not just the majority. So don't come in here lecturing us about how Trump won. Yeah, we all know Trump won. We all know Trump won. And we're going to do everything we can to stop the evil shit that he's doing. That's democracy. We have the legal right to challenge him in court, to challenge him in future elections, as much as they're trying to keep black people, brown people, and blue states from voting. Yeah, as Laura says, just because a lot of people are expressing horrible opinions doesn't mean we can't tell them how much their opinions suck. That's exactly right. Jim, I done a K1. What's the best price to do AOS? So I think for AOS off of K1, we charge like 4,500, 5,000, something like this. All right, we got about 10 minutes left. Let's go to Second Marriage. Hello.
Hey, Jim, how are you? I'm so excited to speak to you.
Me too, me too.
I wanted to call and tell you about my green card interview and our approval, and sorry, and just give you our timeline.
I love it. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah. So I had called 2 previous times, and I was worried about a couple of things coming up in our interview. And sorry, I forgot to mention, I'm the petitioner. My husband's the beneficiary. So I was worried about the fact that 1, my husband is out of status when we met. And then 2, that I had a previous marriage, and this was my second marriage. And I had petitioned for my first husband, who did get his green card and his citizenship through our marriage. And we divorced 8 years ago. So those were the reasons I was calling you previously. So I got remarried in February of 2025. We turned in the application April. We got biometrics done in May. The EAD came super fast in May. We got the interview notice in September. Interview was last week in October. And we got the approval within 24 hours right after our interview for both the I-30 and the 485. So that was our timeline.
That's great.
Yeah, and then I wanted to tell you about our interview because it was super bizarre, Jim.
Okay.
It's not anything like what I anticipated from your content or from what my
Oh wow! Tell me.
attorney had. Oh, sorry.
Tell me.
Yeah. So first we get there and they did not ask us for our IDs, our driver's license, or any of our passports. The interviewer was super aggressive with my husband. I know you talk about that usually the US citizen is the star of the interview. And let me tell you, was almost non-existent in the interview. He just focused on two things with my husband, which was one, when he entered the country, and specifically the dates. He did not focus on what he did during his travels here. He did not ask about who he spent time with or anything, just the dates. And then the other piece was that we had met on a dating app, and he asked so many questions about how my husband came across the dating app, who told him about the dating app, when was he using the dating app, who was he meeting on the dating app, but nothing about him and my relationship and it developing from or through the dating app. So literally probably about like half the interview was on those two topics. And my husband was extremely nervous. And at one point, I think the officer could tell how nervous he was. And he like did a 360 and changed his tactic. And he was just like, hey, I can tell you're nervous and tense. Just show me some of the photos you've brought here today. Help me make a decision on your application. And I was like, what the heck is going on? This is so weird. Because first he was aggressive. And then now he's like, I'm just a human and trying to help you get through this. So anyways, my husband started to show the photos and then he was like almost not paying attention and he was like looking on the computer. And then he made some weird comments about my husband that he thought my husband had lost a lot of weight compared to his old photos that he had seen, like when they come in through customs. And then he made a comment about how unprofessional my husband's photo was in his passport. And then the only question he asked my husband about us was my name, where I work, do I go to the office or do I work from home? And then he only made one comment to me, which was, oh, I see you used to be married. And I said, yes. And he said, what happened to the relationship? And I just said, we grew apart. He asked absolutely no questions about my first petition, no questions about my first petition timeline or my marriage timeline or anything. And then out of nowhere, he's like, okay, let's move to the 485 questions. And then after that, he said he was going to approve us. And then within 24 hours, we got the approval. So it was super bizarre, which I guess thankfully nothing came up about the red flags that I anticipated for why I had originally called you about. But it really threw me for a loop. And then like it was whiplash. I really didn't expect him to approve us on the spot or actually within 24 hours. So that was my interview experience.
That's bizarre. Would the app be one that people know? I mean, you don't have to say the name of the app, but is it like a commonly known app or is it sort of a rare app?
Oh yeah, it's a very common app used for both like platonic and dating. Like men can meet each other, women can meet each other, like very well known.
Okay. So that's weird that he would spend time on that. Once in my life, I think twice, I've gotten to take the depositions of immigration officers, and there was one here forever. I should look up the actual quote, but she said something when I asked her. She goes, well, Mr. Hacking, sometimes we just bluff. Like, we just bluff. And, like we come after you hard just to see if you can handle it. And once you handle it, then we sort of back off. So it sounds like he wanted to was going to approve it all along.
Yeah.
But he wanted to try to rattle his cage and see what happened. You were in the room together?
Yeah, and I'm the only thing I noticed, and I started becoming like a slightly bit more comfortable, is I noticed he was looking at me, looking at my husband, because I was like kind of trying to like appropriately touch his knee to like get him to calm down, like, hey, it's okay, and kind of reassure him. Yeah. And I noticed he was looking at me, looking at my husband. So I thought, well, maybe he's just trying to evaluate my body language to see like, am I nervous or not? And I thought my husband handled it pretty well because we also had an interpreter there. So we actually had 4 of us in the room, the attorney, interpreter, and us two. So like kind of a crowded room. So I don't know if, like you said, he already was just kind of coming in with an idea that he was going to approve us and just.
Did the attorney say anything like, I've been in front of this officer before and he or she, they're weird, or no?
So the attorney and him definitely knew each other because they were kind of like they had definitely recognized each other and happily bantering. So I actually thought the interview was going to go much more friendly and smooth.
Put on his
And
mask.
right. And then the other weird thing, and I don't know if this is maybe an improper assumption, the officer was definitely an immigrant. And so I also thought, well, he for sure is going to be like more understanding. And my husband, when I said that to my husband, when we got out, he said, just like you did, he's like, I knew he was going to come at me hard as soon as I could tell he was an immigrant also. And I was like, oh gosh.
That's also a great TikTok topic for me. And I'll say this, I'll even go one step further. I do think immigrants are often hard on other immigrants at immigration. And if they're immigrants from the same country, then they're even harder on those immigrants.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. Now, they're not from the same continent, my husband, and well, if I'm just stereotyping off a name and look alone, obviously can't confirm where the officer was from. But my guess is they're not from the same continent. But the other thing he didn't ask, Jim, he did not ask about why my husband overstayed his visa, which he came on a B2 visa.
They usually don't. That's sort of a rare question. Yeah. I always ask it, but I haven't heard that much in an actual interview.
Yeah. I mean, we were so prepared. I watched all of your videos, your mock videos, printed off a ton of like mock questions. So yeah. Huh?
Is your husband happy?
Oh yes, we got out of there. He of course was so emotional and crying, and because he was so nervous just going into it, and so grateful that he told us on the spot. And then when we got the official notice in the mail, it was like even more heartwarming. And so yes, good things are still happening and people are still getting approved. So I hope anyone out there who's listening gets a little ray of positivity, because I think we obviously had a few red flags that could have came up, and even though it was a little tough in the beginning, we still got through it. So just stay there and hang in there and keep listening to your videos. They're amazing and you're so awesome. And I love listening to your talks all the time.
Congrats. I'm very happy for you and your husband.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Just one other thing I wanted to tell you. Also, I'm in the Kansas City area, and I heard you said, I think on Saturday or Sunday, that you were in Shawnee, which I'm in Olathe, which is just so funny because we were not too far apart from each other. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so that means Kansas City field office. So, okay.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. All right, great. Thanks for the call. That was very helpful for everybody else. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for your time, Jim. Have a lovely day.
Okay. Bye-bye. All right. So I'm going to end with something that's going to be very controversial and very upsetting. Now, I want you to know that I did not see this speech in its original language, but Steve Schmidt, who is one of the founders of Lincoln Project, put this out on TikTok yesterday. And I got to tell you, it sort of blew my mind. So I'm going to show it to you guys on TikTok. And I don't think we'll have a copyright hit on this, but let me see. I sure loved it. I thought it was very clever. So it's a little upsetting. But okay, I got to share my screen. No, that's not it. Share my screen. Share screen. I thought it was really clever. All right. Here we go.
Unsere Abstammung und unser Erbe reichen zurück nach Athen, nach Rom, nach Philadelphia, nach Monticello. Unsere Vorfahren bauten die Städte, sie schufen die Kunst und Architektur, sie bauten die Industrie. Du hast nichts, du bist nichts. Du bist Bosheit, du bist Eifersucht, du bist Neid, du bist Hass, du bist nichts, du kannst nichts bauen, du kannst nichts produzieren. Du kannst nichts erschaffen. Wir sind die, die bauen. Wir sind die, die erschaffen. Wir sind die, die die Menschheit emporheben.
Stephen Miller hasn't built shit. Stephen Miller's never done a thing in his life. Hasn't built anything, hasn't created anything, hasn't helped anyone. He's just a hateful racist, and he's the one who's setting our immigration policy. We're letting that little weasel set our immigration policy. He's a terrible human being, and that's who's setting our immigration policy, that hateful man. So I thought it was pretty clever. I thought I'd share it with you. I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's show. Oh, thank you, Skyla. 2:00 tomorrow. Oh, yeah, we have Adele's getting a big award tomorrow. So 2:00 is the show tomorrow, episode 943 of the Immigration Answer Show. I'll be with you guys tomorrow at 2. Then no show on Friday, and then weekend will be grab bag. I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, Raphael. Bye, everybody else. I'm glad we heard from Donna. Bye, friends.
I'm great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion.